So this video is all about decorating with slabs, specifically the fallout piece slab from your piercing. So you can see I've taken my tile out of my bag, and I'm looking for the fallout piece. Hopefully you have that handy. If not, I'll talk about what to do in that case in another video. But this video is dedicated to how to use the fallout piece from when you pierced. I'm going to place that fallout piece in this area that I'm pointing to, the top left corner of my tile. You can see I have some options there. There's other blank areas I could use, but I'm going with the top left corner of my tile. You're going to want water handy, plastic fork, paper clip, the toothpick I gave you, that will come in handy, or your plastic fork will come in handy for slipping and scoring. We're going to do the slip and score technique to secure our 3D pieces now. You also want the wooden dowel I gave you to use as a mini rolling pin. And then don't forget to also have your scrap clay nearby that you've reserved for all these 3D pieces of clay that we're going to add to the tile. A lot of our textures in future videos are going to consist of 3D textures. I just happen to have a 3D texture waiting to be used from the time I pierced. And it happens to be a mini slab. Now remember, your tile itself is a slab. It's a square shape 6-inch by 6-inch slab. So that's a slab. Our fallout piece is a slab in the shape of a heart. And again, don't panic if you personally don't have the fallout piece from when you pierced. Maybe you weren't able to keep it intact. I'll talk about what to do in your case in future videos. So just sit tight. But in the meantime, for those of you who have a fallout piece available, you're going to want to decide where to place it in that specific blank section you will designate as your slab sample section. So I'm going with the top left of my tile, and before I attach this heart-shaped slab, aka fallout piece, I'm just going to kind of baby it and clean it up a little bit. It's been abandoned in my bag for several days now, so I just want to clean it up with a sponge or with my fingertips, just to rehydrate it and to remove any imperfections or damage it incurred while it was living in my bag. You can always still baby it again once it's living on your tile permanently, but this is prep work I'd like you to do. So I've decided I'm going to place that little baby slab, that little baby heart-shaped slab, in that specific spot on my tile. I can begin the slip and score technique with my plastic fork, do a cross-hatching technique, but if you find that the plastic fork is too clumsy or bulky, switch to your toothpick instead. With a toothpick, you can get a little bit more control when it comes to scoring for the slip and score technique. So I like to use a toothpick, but if a plastic fork works best for you, fine. Don't forget, you're not only going to slip and score the back of your fallout piece, but you also need to slip and score the tile itself. Both areas need to be scored up. I'm tracing lightly around the heart just so I have an idea of where exactly I should score up my tile. And again, use a plastic fork, or in my case, a toothpick. You want to scratch that up pretty well. Both pieces, the back of the fallout piece and the tile. Also, have your paintbrush handy, the one that I gave you that consists of stiff bristles. Get your paintbrush pretty watery, load it up with a lot of water, and kind of fill in your scored, scratched up areas with water. So this is the slip part of the slip and score technique. Technically, we're not using actual slip, we're faking it with water, as we've done in the past. But that'll work fine with this air dry clay. So after I add water to both pieces, I score again. So even though it's called the slip and score technique, I technically score first, then slip or use water, and then score again. Once you place that fallout piece on your tile, kind of twist it a little bit when you're applying pressure, almost like you would a screw cap. That just helps that piece bond further with the tile to ensure that it does not fall off. You also want to take your paintbrush and load it up with a lot of water and kind of paint around your fallout piece. Keep the fallout piece level and flat too, because remember, we still want it to look like a slab. A slab is a flat sheet of clay. So here I happen to have a heart-shaped flat piece of clay that happened to fall out of my tile when I did my piercing. But it's also serving as a slab as well. So once you've attached the slab, clean it up with a paintbrush, and that should bond it. You also have additional clay for further slabs, which will be discussed later.